All right.
And starts. All right. So welcome you guys to another live call here for learning about how to run your online tutoring business. Now, there are some cool tools, features, all that kind of stuff. And we love to get techno in this group. And our tech can be as complicated or as easy as you want it to be. So today, we are going to get a little bit more on the complicated side because there's a cool tool that you can use. It's called OBS, and you are able to do live streaming with it. You can have green screens with it, and there's lots of really cool things that you can do to be able to not have to pay lots of money for other outside resources and tools, and will help you with your business. And so I'm just going to pause myself here so that it doesn't talk. There we go. We're good. Okay, we've got all systems in place. We've got our speakers in place. Woo! You guys, I'm really excited because you know what? This is not an area that I am like a tech expert in whatsoever. And I will never pretend to be an expert in something that I don't have a clue in. So that's why we've got Alan Tsao and Sam DiMercurio in the house today so that they can share with us like what is OBS, how can it be used with our tutoring business, what are a little bit of the ins and outs, and is it something that you want to further explore to be able to utilize with your business or for your Facebook Lives or for your YouTube Lives, or for whatever reason that you would want to use it. Is this something that you would want to do? So I'm going to introduce you guys to Alan. Hey, Alan.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
So thank you so much for joining us here. We appreciate you taking the time out of your day to share about OBS. So tell us, what does OBS stand for?
So OBS, I think, stands for Open Broadcast Software, Open Broadcast System. The history of it's a free platform, and it's my exposure to it is it's mostly used by like game streamers and YouTube streamers, like people on Twitch. If you don't know what that is, kids these days are watching other people play video games.
You can have green screens with it, and there's lots of really cool things that you can do.
A popular way, and this is a very popular tool. I mean, you're talking about people who like have maybe 20, 30, 50,000 viewers whenever they're doing live streams. And this is sort of the platform that they use. It's updated constantly. It has such a wide range of support. Even though it's free, it's like very, very largely used. And so it's a very popular streaming. I actually use it for recording videos more than I do streaming, but it can do both. Both are basically the same, just sort of whether or not you hit the start streaming or start recording or simultaneous.
Yeah. And you've been using it. So you've been using it to record your YouTube videos with, right?
Yeah, that's right. And some other videos that I've been making, and a lot of them are just problem solving. I actually use them to record my students' tutoring sessions if they request it. And so I'm able to record the sessions while we're doing it, and then I upload it to an unlisted YouTube video or a private YouTube video, depending on how secure they want it, and so that they can rewatch it later. Not too many people do that, but I do use that for that as well.
Sure. Yeah. And it's smart to be able to do it on the YouTube private, because then you just share the link and then they can see it, and you don't have to pay for any of the storage in order to do that. Otherwise, if you uploaded it to like another platform, you'd probably have to pay for some kind of storage for that to happen. I know, like with Zoom, if you want to record every single session, then you're going to need to upgrade to the $40 a month so that you have that space there, because it does take up space, those videos. And so that's not always like the best option to be able to utilize, but so that's a great system that you've put into place for your particular clients. Well done. Awesome. I love it. And so I'm going to open up. I know that some of you guys have questions about OBS. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my channel on my phone so I can see what your questions are. If you haven't had a chance to introduce who you are, what you do, what you tutor, please do that inside of the chat. We want to know who you are and be able to interact with you. We've got some great people in the house. We've got Margarita. Hey, Margarita. Margarita's in Spain. And we've got SD Tech Tutorials. Oh, that's Sam. That's you. We've got Suzanne Davis in the house, and we've got Graham in the house with Empower Mind Chemistry Tuition, and Simony is here. So glad that you guys are all able to join us. And at any point in time, you guys, if you have a question, I will be checking on my phone so that we can incorporate those questions on in. Now, we already had some people asking some questions inside of our Insider Secrets Club as we were, I was telling people that we were going to be doing this. And so I have those questions here. And we had somebody that asked the question, you know what, before we get into the questions, I want to introduce you guys to Sam, because you know how Alan before was saying that like gamers use it. Well, Sam has his own gaming channel. Is that right, Sam?
Yeah, I do. So I haven't been active on it in a while, but that's where I learned OBS. Yeah, so I started sort of streaming and recording and all of that in the gaming space. My gaming YouTube channel is Chalice in Chains, and I'll put it in the chat here for anybody that wants to check that out. But on there, you can actually see the progression of just straight up using Google Hangouts, which was sort of kind of cool. And then it got really bad. And then and now it's basically dead.
Yeah.
To using things like OBS with Google Hangouts and then with Zoom and other things. And the progression of quality of the recording. Yeah, so it's pretty amazing. And then I also more recently helped my wife, Ashley. She has Your Reading Tutor. A while back, her and Victoria Burton were doing some live streams on Facebook. And again, it progressed from the sort of basic, you just go on YouTube or on Facebook and hit go live. And then I kept saying, you should have an overlay. You should have an overlay. And so I did that and helped them get all set up with that, and it looked really good.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's awesome. Thank you for kind of sharing like your progression there, and really just like anything, there's you always like keep adding layers, don't you, when it comes to like learning technology. Like you learn like one feature, you're like, oh, I could use that, and so it just over time just keeps getting easier and getting better.
Yeah, definitely. The thing that I've found with OBS is that it takes a while to learn it, and you will make a lot of mistakes, and that's good because that's how you learn how to. So I figured out a lot about OBS by screwing up a lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know Suzanne way back when she was using she uses Be Live TV, and that's like I think it's like a $15 subscription like per month to be able to utilize it, and it goes right on into like Facebook, and then you're able to add like some of the features that you would use like that OBS has that you don't have to pay for. It's just there, like she doesn't have to learn like how to edit and use them and all of that kind of stuff. But she's always wanted to have OBS to have that great professional look. So glad that you're able to join us, Suzanne. She's curious, is an overlay like a frame?
So maybe it'd be illustrated to go with OBS is basically when you build a scene, everything you put onto the scene is what we call a source, okay? Sources are things like your desktop, your webcam, your microphone, and images, okay? So overlays are really just images that you put on top. Now, there's kind of aspects of it that you can make it like kind of transparent and stuff like that, but like essentially all it is a source, it is an image. Like, for example, with Zoom right now, if you think of it as source, there's my webcam, and then there's this image behind me, right?
Right.
Because this is not my real, I have a green screen that's blocking you a view of something you don't want to see. But you think of it as multiple sources. And so with OBS, when you build a scene, you're simply compiling all the sources that you want to display. And so logos are just images. You can actually have little clips of videos running. I don't know why you would, but you could theoretically have a clip. If you had a document camera or a second webcam, that would be another source you simply add onto the scene, and you can position it where you want. It's actually, it's once you get used to the sort of the way the interface works, it actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
In terms of how everything's put together.
Yeah.
I'm totally following you there too. Like I feel like it's almost like when I go into WeVideo and I edit a video and I add video 2, video 3, video 4, like they're all there, and whatever's on top shows up first. But you're essentially just adding all those different things onto your scene, which you're calling right now what you're seeing.
That's right.
That makes sense?
Yep.
All right.
I was just going to say, in terms of the overlay specifically, when Suzanne asked, is it like a frame? It can be. So for example, the ones that Ashley and Victoria did, Victoria basically created a 1920 by 1080 image in the photo editing program Canva. And then what we did was I basically cut out a portion of it in Photoshop and made it transparent, right? And then what I did was I put that image file in this, in the sources, like Alan was mentioning, in OBS. And then another source is your webcam, or if you're using Zoom, you can capture whatever's on your screen. So you would essentially capture that Zoom window, and then you can crop it. And so what we did was we essentially used that overlay to frame their faces in Zoom, and we put it within that. And that's a really great way of presenting, like if you want to have, your YouTube channel or your business name or whatever up at the top, you can do that. If it's just you that's doing it, one of the great ways to do things is like you'll put yourself in part of the screen, right? Maybe it's half of it or even in the middle, and you can have all kinds of things like, your social media links down on the bottom. You could have over on the, let's say on the left-hand side, maybe you put your face, and then on the right-hand side, you might have like a little, background with text saying, okay, this is what the topics are going to be, or the questions are going to be for today.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's a great opportunity to, it's kind of like layering images and video on top of each other to create a scene, which, think of it kind of like TV, right? Like then you'd be projecting it out to your audience who's viewing it. So
yeah. That's awesome. That's a great explanation of it from both of you guys. Thank you. And Alan, you had said that you'd be able to show us like how to create a scene specifically.
Yeah. So let me share my screen and see if that looks okay to you.
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, so I'm going to pull up OBS. Now I have to disable the video here. One of the things, and this is really specific to your webcam can only be used by one program at a time. So I have to disable it onto here. And let me just real quick, just so that you can actually get the webcam going. I just wanted to make sure I can get the, okay, cool. So here is a sample scene for my YouTube channel. Okay, so if you look in the sources section, I have my microphone because I want to record my audio. Here's my webcam, and here's my monitor. So you're seeing my monitor. I have 2 monitors, so what you're seeing is my main monitor. Because otherwise, if you have one monitor and you put it on like this, what'll happen is like you'll get like a mirroring effect, like you're kind of like looking at a bouncing mirror, like an endless hallway effect. But anyway, so I just didn't want to like make it like too confused. So this is my main monitor. This is my bit paper right over here. You can see it. So whatever you see on the OBS here, whatever you're showing up, that is exactly what's going to be recorded or live streamed or sent out to your audience. Okay. And so it's these sources that you can do. The other thing I didn't mention about OBS and when you're live streaming is sometimes you want to switch between scenes very easily. Like I want to go from here, or maybe I want to switch to my full video, and I just switch to a different scene where I have my full video going. Okay, and so you can switch that very easily on the live in your live by just creating different scenes. And this one has a background source, which is the image of the office and things like that. Yeah. So I'll kind of like walk you through. So let me just kind of like walk through maybe like what it would look like. So I'm going to create a new scene collection. Sure. I create one called, so this is when you first install OBS, it's going to look like this. You open it up. Your scene has nothing in it, right? And they're telling you now, this is an update. I don't feel like it used to have this, but it's saying you don't have anything showing right now. And so what is it that you want to do? Well, first I might want to say, well, I want to add a source. I hit the plus sign and I say like, the most common thing you're going to do is a display capture. That means capturing your monitor, okay? And so if I do display capture, I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to call this monitor 1. I hit OK. That you just want to name it. And then you can pick which display. I have 2 monitors. If I do this one, like you'll get like this the endless mirror effect. But so I'll make it first, that's kind of the source that I want to do. Okay, so that's there. And then I can resize this really. I don't have to make it the entire scene. I can shrink it down, I can move it around, I can adjust it. And I'll get into cropping. Like Sam mentioned, like you can crop and you can adjust things.
Yeah.
To that. So now I'm going to say, well, maybe I want to add my webcam. That's called a video capture device. Okay. And so then I'm going to say, well, we'll call this webcam 1. And then I'm going to pick, in this case, I'm picking my ProStream webcam. This is the webcam that I have. But if you have multiple devices or multiple webcams, this is where you would pick a different one. I could show you that. And so that's here. And I can resize it however I want and readjust it. Right now, you see there's a green screen there, right? There's no image because I haven't added anything to the scene to talk about how to handle what to do with that green screen, which I'll get into.
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe you have a document camera. Okay, so I actually, for the illustration of this, I have another webcam that I have. I don't have a document camera myself, but I have this second webcam.
Oh, but you could.
You could. And this is my second webcam going, right? So now I have 2 webcams going. This is, of course, you see my hand, so hopefully it's not too distracting. But that's another webcam, and I can make that as large as I want. And like I said, OBS is what you see is what you get. So whatever you're seeing right now on the scene is what you're going to be recording or what you're going to be doing.
Yeah. Okay,
so like what else? So we talked about images and stuff like that. So if you want to add an image, okay. So this could be maybe this is going to be my logo.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to browse my download area, and I have a few logo things. Let's just pick this one. This is a giant file, but this is like an old logo. I'm really terrible at art, so like so don't, this is like my first attempt. So one thing you'll notice is, hey, look, it's on top of everything. How do I do that? And that's kind of hidden in the order that these things are indicate what goes on top. So I don't want the logo to be on top of my webcam stuff. But I maybe want it on top of the monitor, so I might drag it down to here. And so now it's behind the webcam, but it's on top of the screen. And I may want to say shrink this down, and I'll put the logo. So maybe I want my face here on the left side. I usually do it on the right side. I don't know why, but and then I'll have this here for some reason, like this. And then maybe I'll have my screen. I don't know, like however you want to arrange it. And this is where we're talking about, where Sam was talking about, if you wanted to make it, it sounded like he made it a giant image. He cut a hole in the center, right? And so that's why it looked like a frame. But you can make this image and resize it. However, it's sort of your creativity. For those of you who are good at Canva or doing like art and stuff like that, I think it's like very natural to you to like really adjust things and however you want to play with it. I'm not super creative on that side of those kinds of things, but you can do however you want on that side.
Yeah.
The other thing, the sort of more advanced things that I end up doing is I say like, well, for my screen, I don't like having my tabs up here showing, and I don't have like my bar down here showing the time and my shortcuts. Just kind of like it doesn't look as clean. And so one of the things I typically do is I crop them. And the way you can do that is each source you can filter, okay? And so you go to you right click on, you hit filters. And right now there's no filters, there's no adjustments. One of the things I like to do, a common thing, is crop. Crop is just like you would do with photos. You're gonna cut it and you're gonna cut it short. I don't even change the name. And then you just put in numbers here. And I say like, well, look, I wanna crop up the bottom here. And it's really number of pixels, even though it doesn't really matter. You just put some numbers and I play with it until I get it the right size. We'll call it 50. And on the top, and you can see it in real time, what the filter is doing is it's simply cutting off the sections that I want. The top side, I'm going to cut off maybe 100 pixels.
Yeah.
But you can do 80. You could play it around so you get just the right amount. So it's not like...
Alan, there's an even easier way if you're interested to learn how to crop. Yeah, so go back to your other screen. If you hit close, with the red bar, see the little red square down on the bottom?
Yeah.
Or on the top? Hold down your Alt key on your keyboard and drag that. Like, see? So, no, well, you want to make sure you're hitting Alt specifically.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right. Yep.
See? Oh, I see. Interesting.
So that's much easier that way. If you hold down Control, I think that's what scales it, but it keeps the aspect ratio. And then Shift allows you, if you hold Shift, that allows you to stretch it and whatever, but that'll mess with the aspect ratio. Yeah. So that Alt trick is a lifesaver.
Oh nice. I just manually do these things. That's good. But so the whole idea is like, so now I've cut my scene short, right? I've cut my monitor, and I don't want, like, now it looks cleaner, right? It looks like I don't have my bars on the bottom. I don't want to make something full screen if I don't want it to. Right. And then now that I have this space, this is a perfect space to put in any logos or anything like that up there, because now I'm not filling the screen anymore. I can use that space for something else. And so that's kind of and then like for green screen stuff, just it is a filter. So it's a filter you apply to any scene, and they call it a chroma key. That's a technical jargon, but it's really just a chroma key, and I don't change the name, and by default it will do green. So you pick the color. And one of the things that OBS is a little better than Zoom is, and my lighting's not very good, so mine's not coming out very well, but you can adjust how aggressive you want it to filter color out. And so sometimes you see in Zoom, it doesn't quite get it right. If you're too aggressive, it'll filter out everything. But one of the things you'll find is that Zoom is trying to auto detect for you when you do the virtual background. It's trying to guess, but it doesn't like guess everything perfectly. So you can do a little more fine towards adjustment on the color and the smoothness. You don't have to worry about these terms. You can just kind of play with them and kind of get a sense, or back to default if it doesn't work. So for mine, my lighting is kind of all messed up right now. So unfortunately, so that's why my green screen. That's the other big thing about a green screen, is lighting is really, really important, because what it's doing is it's basically saying, oh, everything that's this color or similar to this color, I'm just going to make it invisible. And when it does that, and by default, it makes it transparent. And so now you can see it's transparent. If I had done a better job with the filtering, like you can kind of see, behind my head now, right? Like, what's going on back there. And that's the default assumption. It will just remove anything with that color from that thing. And it works on images too, even though it's with images not as necessary, but you can just eliminate a color from that by adding a filter like that. So that's if you want to get into the green screens. Some people have actually, you see a lot of YouTubers and streamers, they actually have really nice backgrounds. And some people just use that and they don't bother with the green screen whatsoever. So I wouldn't even say green screen is totally necessary. But if you want to do it, that's kind of you use a filter to apply, and that makes a filter is just simply a way that adjusts the source in some way you want. For me, sometimes I actually I do a transformation where, like, sometimes my video I flip it horizontally, because sometimes it's confusing when I say it's to my right, but it's really going to the left and stuff like that. Anyway, there's other adjustments you can make, and that's something you can fine tune over time. And like, I don't know most of OBS. OBS has so many filters and so many options for so many different scenarios, and you don't need to know all of them to start using it. Okay, like as you go along and you think about, like, oh, I wish I could do this. That's how I learned most of these things. I would just Google it. I would just be like, okay, I can't figure out how to make that work. So how can OBS do this, or things like that? And so, I mean, I don't know. Anything else want to see, or?
Yeah, it's good. I think people have just been like seriously just watching it. So it's awesome. So she said, how do you get multiple people presenting together like Ashley and Victoria did? Maybe Sam can.
I can show exactly how to do that if you want.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is, let me see the best way to do this. Right now I'm trying to work on one monitor as well, because I didn't have the right cable for my other monitor. But hopefully here you'll see my OBS screen. So right now you can see, right, I've got my image in the back, the camera, right? So which is under sources. You can see video capture device 2. I didn't name it, but that's my webcam. And then I have my I have a more updated version, I think, of OBS. So it got a little weird with the mixer over here, but I put my microphone in as a source.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about that for right now. And then the image here is my overlay. So, I can turn it on and off. But let me show you how to do this. Okay. So I have scene collections, but what I'm going to do here for the purposes of this video is I'm going to start over. So my camera is going to disappear, and I'm going to remove this as well. And I'm going to show you basically how you would do something like that from scratch. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in, I'm just going to bring in one of these overlays that we did for one of their live streams. So literally what I did was I had this on a folder, and I just dragged this PNG file right from the folder into the sources window, right? So you can see it put it in here. Mm-hmm. Now in these black spaces here, it looks black on OBS because the background is black, but these are actually transparent. So let's just say you had one of these made, right? And you want to put 2 people in here. Well, what do you do? Well, when you go under your sources, there's this little plus button down here, which is to add a source. And the source is just one more thing that you're adding to your scene, right? So we would go there. And what I want to do is a window capture, okay? Now, a common one is to do a display capture, but that captures everything on your display in real time, where a window capture specifically captures one program. And so in this case, I'm going to capture our Zoom call. So I'm going to go to window capture, and I'm going to just name it Zoom. Naming is whatever you want to do to make it easy for you. And so then it gives me, it might not let me do it. We'll see. Okay. Oh, here we go. Let's try this. All right. Well, it's maybe it's not going to let me do it. All right. Let me try it this way. That's the way it's supposed to work. So let me try a different thing here. I'm going to go to, and this is the other thing to keep in mind with OBS, it can be funky sometimes. So this is what Alan was talking about, right? Where if you capture your OBS window, it gives you this weird thing here. But if I were to, can I make this full screen? So you can see Joanne up there, right? You can see us here. One of the things that I can do is I can use this, and let's just, for the sake of argument, pretend that this was the Zoom call, right? So see how I've got the faces here. What I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start cropping. So like I said before, if you hold down the Alt key and you kind of just take your scene in a little bit, you can crop and adjust. So what I'm going to do is, let me lock the background here. Oops. Lock. There. Locking. So this little thing down here locks the screen or locks that particular source. That can be helpful so you don't move things around by mistake. All right. So let's see. All right. So I want, where is it? It's not going to work like this. Sorry. I'm going to try one more thing. So what's supposed to happen, and it could just be because OBS is being weird for me, but you're supposed to be able to go to window capture. Now, when I have Zoom open, like if I've initiated the call, it will show Zoom, but it won't say meeting controls. It'll just say Zoom. It's not letting me do it now, maybe because I didn't initiate it, but essentially you could, you can crop. So let me pull up. I got an idea. This is what I'll do. I'll show you another thing here. All right. So I'm going to pull this onto the screen here. So let's say that I wanted to use these images. Pretend that the image of Ashley and the image of Victoria are actually a Zoom window, right? Side by side. So you've done your window capture. You've selected Zoom from the menu, and now you have our Zoom call going, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't want all this other stuff, so I'm going to hold down my Alt key, and I'm going to just kind of crop this a little bit. Oops, did the wrong thing here. Sorry. So this is a good example of how difficult this program can be sometimes, because I have it being annoying for me. Okay. Yeah. See, but you can crop it in. So like I can crop in their face right? And I can crop in this side. You can kind of crop it in wherever you need. And then you can adjust the size of it with either shift or with, you can do control as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to crop in Ashley here. And so what I would do is then I would put her in here and kind of stretch it out so she would fit in the border. And then I'll put this below my overlay. See, so now my overlay is on there and she's in there. Now, what you would do is you would then go into your sources. You would do another window capture. So again, I'm going to use an image here, but you do another window capture. You do the exact same thing. So it's a little tedious, but you capture your zoom window twice. And this is at least how I know how to do it. There might be an easier way. You could always, if it lines up properly, you could always just do a window capture and put it in the background. And if your overlay is sort of set up so that it neatly aligns, that's perfect. Mine almost never did that. So that's the point. But the other thing I will do, I have a video tutorial on one of my YouTube channels about this, but I'm going to redo it. And I'll make sure to link it for you guys so that you can see that. It's complicated, to say the least, but it can be very easy in time once you've started to learn how to do it. So sorry that the demonstration didn't work well. I don't have my normal setup. And so because I don't have my normal setup, it wasn't giving me the options that I needed.
Right. Yeah. And it happens too. I find with being inside of Zoom and sharing your screen, sometimes everything just kind of slows down a bit, which then can cause some other issues as well. Now,
Yep.
You're inside of Zoom using OBS. Tell us how you did that.
Okay. So here, why don't I do this? Can you guys still see my OBS window?
Yep.
No, yeah. Okay. So what you can do in OBS is up at the top, and this is something that you'll want to Google first. You have to download a plugin called a virtual camera.
Okay.
But you can literally Google OBS virtual camera, and the very first link on there will take you to it. You install it. And then what you do is up at the very top, let me do this, and then I'm going to grab the screen share again just to make sure that it's proper here. Okay. So you should be able to see up at the top, there's an option that says tools.
Uh-huh.
And down at the very bottom, it will say virtual cam.
So it almost turns into a virtual camera now.
Exactly. Yep. And so that is, you would want to hit start.
Yep.
So that would be the first thing that you would do. And then in Zoom, you have camera controls. So under,
you just choose that camera.
Yeah, you'd click the little caret, and you would have, in my case, I have two options. I have the Logitech webcam, which is what my normal webcam is, and then it says OBS camera. And when you select OBS camera, it will show whatever is on your OBS screen.
That's cool.
Yeah. But so it's one of those things where if you don't have the plugin and you forget to start it, you're going to be like, what's going on? But eventually in time, you remember and you're like, okay.
So then in your OBS, like to do that, do you have to then select like which camera you want to use and then put your overlay on there, and really essentially you're creating a screen now for your Zoom call?
Yeah, so I can show you how I did it here in the sources here. So if we're starting with a blank window here, the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to sources. I'm going to hit add. And then video capture device is the webcam. So if it's just you and you're using a webcam, that's the one you would go to. You go to video capture device. You can name it whatever you want. I'm just going to name it webcam. Whoops, I can't seem to type today. And then you can see it detects my webcam, right? Whoops. And so I'll hit OK. And then this is like up in the corner of my screen. Now you can stretch it, or one of the things you can do is if you go to, where is it? I think it is transform. And so what I've done here is I've right clicked on this source with my mouse, and I go down here to transform. you can hit fit to screen, stretch to screen, or center to screen. So in my case, I'm going to hit fit to screen. Now this doesn't look great, right? Because it's got bars on either end. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to go back to transform and I'm going to hit stretch to screen. Now it stretches me out a little bit, but it's not terrible. Right. So I would be okay with this. So that was one way to do it. Or you can literally just like hold down your shift key, you know, and you can do this, or you can hold down control. Yeah. And it will give you the fine control over it. So you can do it however you want. Right. That's to get my webcam. And then the easiest thing to do if I want, let's say, to get my lower third on there, I'll show you two ways to do it, but I have it in a folder. I literally just take it and drag it onto the screen. Yeah. My folder.
Oh, okay.
And you can see it, put it in as a source. Yep. Down here, right?
Yeah, just select it automatically.
Yeah, and then you can click on the screen. Sometimes you have to click on the source itself. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock my webcam. Yep. So that when I click on my lower third, I won't accidentally click on the webcam, right? And I can move it. Yeah. I have this source as a 1920 by 1080 pixel transparent image. So that's why you're seeing this huge red bar around it, but you don't have to worry about that. But the point is you can move this wherever you want, right? Right. And then the other way to do it is you go into, here, I'll delete this. You go into sources, and you can do this with any image file, right? So this happens to be an image. So I'll go to the plus for sources. I'll hit image. I'll type lower third. Naming can be important when you're creating complex scenes where you have lots of different images and stuff. Sure. But most scenes are going to be pretty easy. So I named it, and then it says, where is it, right? So it's on my desktop. So I double click on it, and I hit OK. And there it is. And then again, I can just move it around wherever I need it, right? So same thing if you have like a YouTube logo or you have a Facebook logo. You know, if I wanted to add some text on here, I'm not going to bother naming it for now, but like I could go in and I could do, let's see, we'll do yourreadingtutor.com. Right. So this is adding text, and right now it's white and it's up in the top of the screen, so you can't see it. But like, let's say I'll make it black, and then I'll move it down here. And then I will make it big, right? You can do all kinds of stuff. Yeah. I can go back in if I want by right-clicking on it, properties, and I can change the color again. Let's say I want that to be, I don't know, the same color as my lower third. So I'll click Add Custom Colors, and then I'll do Pick Screen Color. And then I'll just like put my mouse over my logo there. Click on it, hit OK. Boom, there you go, right? Yeah. And you can, so the thing with OBS is that it is as complicated as you want it to be or as simple as you want it to be. But what's great about it is that it is simple enough that anybody can use it to create simple scenes. Yeah. And it is powerful enough to allow you to do whatever you want to do. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, it seems like such a really cool tool. So it seems like it's really easy. If I created a scene where I have me on the side and I have the board on the other side where I'm writing or I'm doing a PowerPoint, I can add a PowerPoint in there too, right? And like click from side to side where me on this side and like the PowerPoint on this side. Yep, you could. There's a number of ways you can do it. Sometimes you can add the actual file. Sometimes it's easier to do like a little window capture, like I showed before. Yeah. So that as you're clicking on the PowerPoint, it's showing it. But yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. So yeah, lots of great ways to be able to use it. So, so Margarita wants to know, how do you go live in OBS to like YouTube or Facebook?
You want to take that, Sam, or you want to?
I can if you want. Sure. I mean, it's both easy and complicated. So I'm going to, oh, am I still sharing? Yeah, I think I am.
No, I just.
Oh, right now it's just all of us.
I'll grab it again. Sorry. So, okay. So there's a couple of things you're going to need to do. If you have, let's say you want to go on YouTube, right? In YouTube, you have what's known as a stream key.
Yes,
so what that means is you'll have to have your YouTube channel already set up as a creator, and you have to have it verified. And that's basically easy. You just do it in the settings, and it takes 24 hours, whatever. That's sort of beyond the scope of this video. But once that's all done and you have your stream key, what you could do is down here in settings on the right-hand side, you go to settings, and then it'll pull up all this complicated stuff, right? If you go to stream, it'll ask you, the very first thing is, what service do you want? And Twitch is the default because most people are streaming on Twitch. That's the game streaming. But let's say you want to do it on YouTube, right? So you'd click YouTube. You can leave server alone. You don't have to worry about that. Sure. And then where it says stream key, this is where you would put in your stream key.
Yep.
And again, if anybody ever needs help with that, let me know. I'm more than happy to help. But once you have that, you would hit apply. Okay. So that's part one. And then what you would do, the easiest thing you would do at that point is you would hit this button right here that says start streaming. And it's that simple. Mm-hmm. Now, there is a little bit of a delay. So like, for example, if we're looking at our Zoom call and then we go and we look over at the YouTube video, it's delayed from ours, and that's fine. It's supposed to do that. But that's the easiest way to do it. So again, settings, stream, you select which service you want. So Facebook is a little bit more complicated, and I can show you that if you want. Because in Facebook, there's an added element to it. So let's go to Facebook, and let's go to, I'll just do my gaming page here. Can you guys see my Facebook page right now? Yep. Okay.
Yes.
So what I would do then is, let me see if I can move yeah, here we go. So what I need to do is I need to go to, I think it's under publishing tools. Where is it? Settings. I'm trying to remember where it is on the page, because it's the same. Oh, I know. Hold on. Let me go back to my page here. So what I can do is, if I'm going to go make a post, right in here, what I can do is actually right up above it, it says live.
Yep.
So if I click live, it's then going to ask me, what do I want to do, right? Camera. I'm going to go to the connect option, because camera would be if you just wanted to straight up live stream right from your camera, nothing else. But here under connect, right, this is where it'll give you the option to use something like OBS.
Right.
So what I would do is I would take this stream key down here. I would hit copy. Right. Then I would go back into OBS, back to settings, stream, Facebook, copy it in, hit apply. Mm-hmm. And then what you would need to do is when you hit start streaming in OBS, it's not actually streaming to Facebook yet. It would if you were on YouTube or Twitch, but what would happen is all of the stuff over on the right-hand side of the screen, right here where you could say something, your title, tags, whatever, you would still have to hit go live. And then it would start streaming to your Facebook page.
Got it.
And so that's important because with YouTube, it's literally, as long as you have the stream key, as soon as in OBS you hit go live, it starts streaming to YouTube. Facebook, there's an additional step.
Sure.
But you can see it's complicated the first time you kind of encounter it, but you can quickly figure out how to do it, right? So, title, Joanne's live stream, and I'm not actually going to stream it, but you can get the point. And then we're live. And this can be a great opportunity also to have like a question, what's your, worst OBS experience, right? Put it in there and it drives engagement. So that's basically how you do that in OBS and Facebook.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, quick question, Alan, do you use OBS with your tutoring at all? or do you use it just for your like your videos?
Like I said, I do use it for my student recordings. So I don't do it the way that Sam was showing to use a virtual camera. I did set that up. I think I had some lag problems where my audio was out of sync with my video. And so I kind of like nixed that idea because I was like, it's not that important. I was just only if I wanted to do the green screen while I was using bit paper. And I would decided that wasn't that important anyway. But what I do is I create a scene where I just capture my desktop audio, my screen, and my microphone, and those are the only three things and I just hit start recording when the student wants to start recording, and then or wants to start when we're in the middle of a lesson, and then it's just like Sam showed. Right below the start streaming button, there was a start recording button. So if you want to record a video, you just hit start recording, and it just starts recording at that point. And so that's what I use. It will just record, capture everything we say until I hit stop, and then I upload and then once you have a file, you just upload it to wherever you want to put it. I would say that for streaming though, OBS is the standard. So almost any live streaming platform will have support for OBS in some way for another. Yep. So usually if you're using some other platform, I mean, what he just listed were the popular ones. Those are definitely, right. There are other ones. You just need to search OBS with like anyone who has a live streaming platform has the ability to support OBS because your live stream platform would never work if nobody could use OBS with it. So you can use it to live stream anything, even if it seems obscure or whatever. Like it will support it.
You can get to Twitter too if you want, but not.
Yeah, no, I saw Twitter.
I don't know why you'd want to, but you could. Right. That's where your audience is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys! If you are liking this right now, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to make sure that you can like see more like really cool stuff like this, because this is awesome. Like we really like as soon as you guys started talking about this, I started brainstorming. Like I don't know if anybody else's brain was like going like that, but I'm like, oh my gosh, so I could do this and I could do this and I could do that. Like it opens up the whole opportunity and stuff. And you guys explained it in such an easy way because I'm familiar with video, and I think that's probably a piece of it. Like anybody who's aware with how to edit videos, like this seems like a really easy thing to be able to utilize using the same strategies that they utilize. They're very, very like, they kind of go hand in hand in a way. Would you guys agree with that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they made it pretty easy to use, I would say, in terms of user interface. I think like by virtue of open source, there's a lot of people who work on it and contribute to the project. And like, I swear there's an update like every couple of weeks. They're fixing things, fixing bugs or things like that.
Or adding awesome new features. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, have to update it in order to get those features, or is it like automatically updated?
You'll get a prompt when you open it. It'll be like, there's a new update and you can hit update now or skip it or skip this one or wait or remind me later. I think those are the three options, like a standard program.
Okay.
But so it automatically reminds you.
Service if you choose not to update it, but you can choose to update it like later or anything.
Yeah, you can say remind me later. I'm like, oh, I'm in the middle. I got to start it up right now. And then,
right.
And it's not necessary. Your version works fine. It's just sometimes there's obscure bugs because it supports so many things that like I don't use 95% of the things that it can do. And you don't need them. Like you don't necessarily need those until you run into like a, hey, how could I make it do that? You know, once you're thinking of ideas and things to do, like if you look at like my beginning YouTube videos, one, I had poor lighting. I had way too many logos. Like I put like too much stuff on my screen. And for the videos I was making, I was like, this is really distracting. It's too much screen space. So, but you could be as creative as you want. And, once you just start like, just start with it. Keep it simple if you want to start. If it's just your face and your screen, that's fine. Like that's a perfectly okay way to start. And, you'll figure out and you just sort of build on top of it like any tool. Like you just build on top of it as you want to get more creative and more complicated with your scenes.
Yeah, very cool. Awesome. I love this, you guys. Well, thank you so much. Anybody have, I'm taking a look, I don't really see any other additional questions that people have that are different than what we presented or talked about already. But thank you guys so much for being here and explaining it. I totally feel like I have gotten it, and I know that more people now are going to be open to the idea of trying it and getting on in there. And really that's what it's all about. It's all about like, all right, now let me get in there and try it. And then, you can always ask questions if you get stuck at some point. And and Alan or Sam will chime on in and be able to help you. So if you're already inside of the Ultimate Support Group for online tutors, you can find both Sam and Alan inside of there, and they can try to answer the question as best as possible. And Sam also has his own business where he teaches people this exact strategy. Okay, so if you are like, I need more hand-holding, like I cannot do this on my own, like what you showed me looks cool and I think I could do some of it, but I'd like to learn more, then definitely do a shout out to Sam DiMercurio, and he would be more than happy to help you on out and guide you into those steps.
Yep.
Well, thanks again, you guys. I really appreciate you taking the time to be on in here. Now, there's not going to be a YouTube live next week, you guys. I am on vacation. I'm taking the whole week off. No videos at all on YouTube. Like that's the first time in probably over a year and a half that I have not done any YouTube videos. There are none for next week, but the following week you'll be able to catch back on up with us. We'll have new videos for you and exciting stuff. So enjoy the rest of your week, you guys, and I will see all of you soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.